fatty liver disease. Man, if you've been diagnosed, that can sound heavy, like a life sentence. But what if I told you it's not? The really good news is, for most people, this condition is completely reversible. Today, we're going to break down the exact blueprint for healing your liver. And it's not by adding a bunch of pills or potions, but by truly understanding the root cause and making some really powerful changes. So let's get into it.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by understanding just how huge this silent epidemic really is. Then, we're going to decode the name of the disease itself because it actually reveals the cause. After that, we dive straight into the reversal plan, what to take out, what to eat instead, and the key habits that are going to lock in your success.
Okay, first things first, we have to grasp the reality of this situation. You might think fatty liver is some rare condition, but the truth is, it's a massive, modern health crisis that's silently growing all around us. And the numbers, well, they're pretty staggering.
Just look at this number. Up to 25% of adults in Western countries now have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That is 1 out of every 4 people. Think about that. Back in 1980, when the first cases were described, this disease was virtually unknown. Now, it's a full-blown epidemic.
And here's the part that is just truly shocking. It's not just adults. 1 in 10 kids are now being diagnosed, some as young as 3 years old. We're seeing teenagers on the liver transplant list because of a condition that is 100% preventable and, for most, curable. This is exactly why we need to understand what's going on. So, what happens if you just let it go? Well, you can think of it as a path. It starts simply enough, with just some excess fat building up in the liver. But if nothing changes, that fat becomes inflamed. That's stage 2, a condition called NASH. From there, that constant inflammation leads to fibrosis. That's when the scarring begins. And the final stage, the point of no return, is cirrhosis, where the liver is so badly damaged it just can't function anymore. The key here, the whole point, is we have to jump off this path long before it gets to the end. Okay, so how do we start? How do we get off that path? Well, the very first step is actually a mental one. It starts with understanding why the name we use for this disease matters so much. This is where things get really interesting. For years, we've called it NAFLD, right? Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. But think about it. That name only tells you what it isn't. It's not caused by alcohol. Okay, great, but that doesn't give us any clue about how to fix it. But now, there's a proposed new name, MAFLD. Metabolism-associated fatty liver disease, and this is a total game changer. It tells you exactly what it is. It's caused by a problem with your metabolism, and that right there is so empowering because it means if we fix the metabolism, we can fix the liver.
So, if the problem is metabolic, what's the trigger? What's actually flipping the switch and turning the liver into a fat-making factory? The answer is surprisingly simple, and it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now.
So there's this key process called de novo lipogenesis. I know it's a sciencey term, but it literally just means making new fat. And what happens is, when your liver gets totally overwhelmed with excess sugar, it has no other choice. It has to hit the emergency button, and it starts converting all that extra sugar into fat to be stored.
And this right here shows you the direct pipeline. You eat a bunch of sugar and starches, they flood the liver, and boom, the liver starts cranking out new fat. It's that direct. See, it's not eating fat that gives you a fatty liver, it's eating sugar and carbs. In one study, they overfed people carbohydrates for just a little while, and it increased their liver fat by a staggering 27%. And one of the main villains in this whole story is fructose. You know, unlike glucose, which pretty much all the cells in your body can use for energy, almost all the fructose you eat goes straight to one place, the liver. And your liver doesn't care if it's from high fructose corn syrup in a soda or from so-called natural sugar in fruit juice. It's forced to deal with it, and its go-to move is turning it into fat. So, this brings us to the core of the solution. To reverse fatty liver, we have to flip the script. In our world, we're always trying to add something, a new pill, a supplement, some kind of superfood powder. But the real cure, it isn't about what you add. I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. The path to healing your liver isn't about finding some magic bullet to add to your life. It's about having the courage to subtract the things that are causing the damage in the first place. You have to take out the poison. So what do we subtract? Here it is. This is the non-negotiable hit list. Number 1, all sugary drinks, soda, sports drinks, yes, even fruit juice. They are a direct shot of fructose to your liver. Number 2, all grains and starches, bread, pasta, rice, because they turn into sugar the moment you eat them.
Third, those inflammatory industrial seed oils like canola and soybean oil. Fourth, basically any processed food with hidden sugars. And finally, alcohol, which just puts direct unnecessary stress on an already overworked liver.
Okay, so once we've removed all this stuff that's causing the damage, the liver can finally breathe. It can start to heal. Now let's talk about what we should be eating to support that process and build a new, healthy liver from the ground up.
This right here is the new blueprint for your plate. Super simple. The majority, about 60%, should be your foundation of quality protein and healthy fat. So think fatty meat, fish, or eggs. Then fill most of the rest of your plate, say 30%, with green, non-starchy veggies. And then top it all off with some extra healthy fats like avocado or a drizzle of olive oil. Eating this way keeps your sugar and insulin levels low, which finally allows your liver to start burning off all that stored fat. Now, if you want to give your liver some extra love, there are some real powerhouse foods you can focus on. Fatty fish, like salmon, gives you those amazing omega-3s to fight inflammation. Eggs are a fantastic source of something called choline, which is absolutely critical for liver health. Of course, you want those healthy fats from avocado, olive oil, and walnuts. And here's a surprise for some people. Studies show that even unsweetened coffee and green tea can help protect the liver.
Now, diet is absolutely the cornerstone. It is king, but it's not the only piece of the puzzle. There are a few key lifestyle habits you can adopt that will seriously accelerate your liver's recovery and help you lock in that health for the long term. Here are the 4 pillars. First, gradual weight loss. You don't need to do anything crazy. Just aiming to lose 5 to 10% of your body weight can dramatically reduce liver fat. Second, exercise. Just get moving. Aim for at least 150 minutes a week. Third, and this is a big one, stop snacking. Every time you eat, your liver has to go to work. Giving it a real break between meals is crucial. And fourth, think about time-restricted eating or fasting. Just pushing your meals into a smaller window each day gives your liver a long 16 to 18-hour break to really cleanse and repair itself.
And if you're wondering, does this stuff actually work? Get this. Research has shown that both very low-carb diets and intermittent fasting can reduce the amount of fat in the liver by over 50%. We're not talking about a tiny improvement here. This is a radical, life-changing transformation.
So let's end on the single most important message. Despite all the scariest statistics and the serious nature of this disease, there is so much hope. Your liver is an incredibly resilient organ. If you stop poisoning it and give it the right conditions, it can heal. It wants to heal. The knowledge is right here. The path is clear. It really all just comes down to a choice. The power to reverse this condition isn't in a doctor's office or a pharmacy. It's right there on your plate and in your daily habits. So, the only question left is, what choice will you make today?